I'm gonna wear black satin and send people to jail.
All rise for the Honorable Do You Remember, where we dig up all the facts of our favorite classics. And today's case centers around Night Court, a late 80s glimpse into the antics of Harry Stone's municipal courthouse. The evidence is in, so let's find out all the hidden secrets of Night Court. What secrets does Bailiff Bull hide under that shining scalp? How did they choose what topics to tackle and what to stay away from? I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and if you plead guilty to liking this video, you're sentenced to giving it a thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel for more. But without further ado, the court is now in session. These are their stories. Show creator Reinhold Weege took some real inspiration for his show. He sat on the bench with some New York City Night Court judges, and there he saw some pretty wild things. Weird enough to inspire an entire 9-season show. He also read about judges who were, in a word, eccentric, and ones that the state had trouble getting off the bench. This made Weege want to try just that. Through sitcom form, of course, asking what if that did happen? A wacky judge stuck at this night court business, dealing with some wackiness and causing some of his own too.
You twerp.
He crafted the character Judge Stone as a magician named Harry, and it turned out the exact right person existed in this world. Night Court producer Jeff Melman and his wife were watching Saturday Night Live when none other than Harry Anderson tried performing a magic trick.
What?
They had to cast Harry, especially when they learned that Anderson also loved Mel Torm. Of course, friends of the staff got their shout-outs in the show too, as prostitutes and pimps. Quite a few of the people brought into court were named after Weege's own family and friends. The Barney Miller Connection. Night Court was Weege's second legal-based sitcom, the first being none other than Barney Miller, a great comedy based on a New York police station and its memorable employees. And to hear what they all got into after Barney Miller ended, check out that cast rewind next. Because Weege had worked on Barney Miller, some fans of the show saw Night Court as a direct spin-off, or at the very least a spiritual successor. But this wasn't the case, even though the groundwork was there. On top of similar subject matter, the shows also shared actress Florence Hallop, because before playing bailiff Florence Kleiner, Hallop had been in 6 episodes of Barney Miller. Keeping it light.
I have some data for you.
Okay, just toss it in there, please.
Sorry, I was asked to toss it up here.
By the time Night Court aired, even sitcoms tackled heavy subjects. Different Strokes made it an art form, and even Archie on All in the Family learned some lessons. But not Night Court, a show embedded deep in the criminal justice system. No, not that one. You see, Night Court never really tried to say anything. And that was on purpose. In John Larroquette's own words, quote, "We don't make any pretense of dealing with issues that are impossible to address or solve in the sitcom format, but if you just want to forget it all for a minute and laugh at pies in the face and pants around the ankles, that's what we do very well." In fact, executive producer Stu Kreisman said they were so famously politically incorrect that Night Court probably would have had a cigarette sponsor if it had aired years prior. You could always count on this show to let you just forget through laughter. Toast to Torm. Before Night Court had an actor for its honorable judge, they knew some basic facts about him. He'd be named Harry, he's a magic enthusiast, and his favorite singer is Mel Torm.
Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those eyes?
The first episode quickly establishes Harry's worship of the musician, and when Torme's own relatives saw the show, they called him up and made sure he knew about it. And Torm was very flattered by all the praise, so when the show asked him to appear in some episodes, he happily agreed. Turns out they both did each other favors, as all those references on Night Court made Torme's concert audience expand. He noticed more and more younger people coming to watch him perform, and he directly credits the sitcom for his renewed popularity. And the winner is...
Let the games begin.
For better or worse, there's no forgetting the uptight, womanizing Daniel Fielding, played by the smooth John Larroquette. Just one line, or even one word, from him could steal the scene, and the Academy noticed. Night Court garnered dozens of awards and nominations, and John Larroquette alone won 4 Emmys in a row. By the 4th, he got the message, and he didn't want the gold statue again.
I'm beginning to get slightly embarrassed by your generosity.
So he actually asked the Television Academy to stop considering him for the Emmy, at least for his work as Fielding. Firstly, Larroquette didn't think his work was worthy anymore, partly because the original show creator left, and it just didn't feel the same. Secondly, that most feared fate of all TV actors, typecasting. Larroquette knew a lot of viewers loved Fielding, and he appreciated that, but he also knew it wouldn't last forever, so when Fielding left everyone's psyche, Larroquette wanted to as well, so he wouldn't get typecast as the same character over and over. A bald choice. Richard Mole was pretty okay as the simple, lovable bailiff Bull Shannon, prone to silly slip-ups, but with a heart of gold. He was Manhattan's own gentle giant, literally, as Mole stands at a towering 6 feet 8 inches. Hoss, that you? It isn't. Mole came from a wildly different project before this big role, a sci-fi film called Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jared Sin.
In 3D.
If you haven't heard of it, you're not alone. It was a bit obscure, but it gave Mole a starring role, minus his hair. And since he was bald from this role when he auditioned for Night Court, nothing about him was what Ouija pictured for Bull, but deep down he knew he had his guy. His only caveat was that Mole had to keep his head shaved, and Richard had no problem with that, even saying he'd shave his legs for the part. Bye, bailiff. Actress Selma Diamond was the Night Court's first bailiff, Selma Hacker, for 36 episodes, usually accompanied by a cigarette right in the middle of the courtroom. Diamond was in her 60s and the character's chain smoking let her continue her own habit, but sadly at the age of 64, Selma Diamond died of lung cancer. So Florence Hallop took the mantle as bailiff Florence Kleiner. Also in her 60s, she was chosen because her comedic timing and mannerisms were very similar to Selma's, and she stayed on for 22 episodes until she too sadly died of cancer. Those back-to-back deaths for one role sparked a lot of rumors and legends that the job was cursed. Confronted with these losses, producers decided they'd have to hire a younger actress. Enter Marcia Warfield, in her late 30s and ready to play Roz to the show's end. And actually, Marcia admitted to having some reservations at first, but I don't blame her.
If anybody's looking for me, I'll be at home, shooting my television set.
Post-pregnancy. Much of season 7 featured the blossoming relationship between public defender Christine Sullivan and Detective Tony, played by Markie Post and Ray Abruzzo respectively. And the two had a baby together, leading to some great moments about the joys and horrors of childbirth.
I was going to point to the birth canal, which is also known as...
There's a reason we got these iconic moments. Simply, Markie Post was pregnant. She learned that she was expectant at the start of season 7, and the writers jumped into high gear writing a romance and marriage arc. And of course, a pregnancy plotline. Cancel the cancel. Night Court held session for 193 episodes across 9 great seasons, and ratings actually tended to go up as the show progressed, which is pretty okay as far as trends go, especially given the circumstances of a rotating cast and time slots that changed from year to year. It still managed to rack up 29 Emmy nominations. Still, some critics could be harsh, calling it bland and suggesting it robbed the cast of respect. To that, John Larroquette pointed out, quote, "You don't do sitcoms for respect, you do them for laughs." So what was the final blow? Infighting and conflicting aspirations, of course. NBC had plans to renew the show, but Warner Brothers wanted to sell it off to someone else. And Night Court ended up in a weird quasi-ending limbo. So when it looked like the end was near, the show's writers planned a finale. Even some original writers came back to see the show to the end, and they set the groundwork for some great arcs that would come together in a very satisfying finale. Except that finale now had to be morphed into one more season, and all those plot lines planned for a brilliant finale had to get rewritten for this penultimate season. The writers and actors did finally feel a little bit slighted. Some closure at last. Fans didn't quite get the great ending they wanted, but thankfully another show had their back. The Tina Fey sitcom 30 Rock. followed the goings-on of TV studios at 30 Rockefeller Plaza. And a whole 16 years after Night Court was canceled, 30 Rock aired the episode titled The One with the Cast of Night Court, featuring Markie Post and Harry Anderson themselves to put together a true ending.
Some of the cast of Night Court!
This is the sick kid you were telling us about?
Finally, Christine and Judge Stone get married, resolving the Christine-Harry-Dan love triangle. It got mixed reviews, but I tip my cap to Tina Fey for giving us a proper Night Court ending. So, does the jury have a verdict ready? What was a great episode of Night Court you remember? And who has a favorite character over the 9-season run? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one. And please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. From all of us here at Do You Remember, thank you very much for watching.